Romans 13:10 says, "Love does no wrong to a neighbor. Therefore, love is the fulfillment of the law." Love does no wrong to a neighbor. Now, I think we have to understand that as Christians, when we read through the Bible and we understand what the Bible has to say about God's love and the love that we are to have as believers, that this is different than the love that is spoken of and held to by those in the world. And what the world calls love is little more than selfishness, is very perverted, manipulatory, and does not seek the edification or the well-being of the other, but self. And I think that this verse is going to be very important for us to keep in mind as we read through Genesis 34. 1 Corinthians 13 verses 4 through 8 says, "Love is patient," and this is a description of love. Love is patient. Love is kind, and it is not jealous. Love does not brag and is not arrogant. It does not act unbecomingly or rude. It does not seek its own, that is, its own selfish interests. It seeks the interests of other people. It is concerned about other people. And it always poses the question, what am I doing for the benefit of others? Because love thinks more of others than self. Christ is our role model. He came not to be served, but to serve and to give his life, ultimately as a ransom for many. Ultimately. But he gave it in many other ways. And he came to serve. He came to give of himself, not to get. So it does not seek its own. It is not provoked. It does not take into account a wrong suffered. In other words, it lets a thing go. When sin is committed, it doesn't have to have somebody coming asking for forgiveness. It forgives even without the request. It does not take into account a wrong suffered. It does not hold something against another person. And that's important to understand. It does not rejoice in unrighteousness. That is, that when you think of love, there is a rightness to it. With the world, the sense of love, there is a wrongness to it. And when we look at Genesis 34, we're going to see that today. What one man calls love is wrong. Because it is selfish, it is manipulative. It does not seek the well-being of others. It seeks personal, selfish, sinful gratification. So it does not rejoice in unrighteousness, but rejoices with the truth. Which makes me think of Ephesians 4:15, that we are to speak the truth in love. That truth and love go together, that these are not separate things. It bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Love never fails. And when somebody tells you that they love you, if it does not fit this description, then it's not biblical love. It's something else. It's defined by some other way, some other definition, but it is not this love. And listen, don't waste your time with anybody else. Find somebody who is going to love you with this kind of love, and be willing more so to have this kind of love yourself. That when you say to somebody, "I love you," this is your standard. This is how you are to think. This is what your love ought to look like. Be it a husband to a wife to a husband, a parent to a child to a parent, a friend to a friend, a Christian to a Christian. This is how love ought to be displayed. 1 Corinthians 16:14, let all that you do be done in love. Philippians 2:3 and 4, do nothing from selfishness or empty conceit, but with humility of mind, regard one another as more important than yourselves. And do not merely look out for your own personal interests, but also for the interests of others. Amen?